Good morning. All right, I think this is better this time. I was just on like 2 seconds ago, but the video's acting weird or whatever. But yeah, good morning. Hey, y'all, this is the first day of the year. I'm really excited about that. It's 2019, and we made it. That's awesome. So, this one went a little differently than I thought it would. Um, at least what I had planned originally. So now the video's still doing weird things. I don't know. I switched it from my Wi-Fi to my hotspot, thinking maybe it was something with the internet. I don't know. So then it's not the internet because it's like I switched them. Maybe it's just Facebook today. I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. I guess the most important part is that you hear what I say, not necessarily that you see me. Because literally, I sit either in this chair or the other chair. Ain't much difference. So yeah. Anyways, we're just gonna go for. So yeah. Originally, I thought that I will be sharing testimony about how I believe God for 100, falls to His page, and that happened, like it came to pass. And so then I had very specific instructions to basically not check until today. And so I did that. I went on yesterday roughly when I was, felt like led to go on. So I did a couple videos yesterday. I did 2 videos yesterday. And then I've been doing videos pretty regularly as I've been kind of felt led to do them. And so I felt like I was like being obedient to what God was asking me. And this would then turn into me getting those 100 follows, 100 likes or whatever. So got on, specifically was told to, like, at least I felt like specifically to get on at 10 a.m. And so I was like, all right, I won't check till then. So I just checked it, right? I have 93 likes, or 93 follows, 92 likes. I think one of those is me. And so I can't either like it or follow it. Or maybe it might not be me. I don't know. Either way, it's 92, 93. So, not 100. And so, at first I wasn't even going to like mention it. I was like, skip over that. We're just going to go to this next one, and y'all might have forgot about it. But no, I really felt like God was telling me to really talk about it. So, like, what happens what do you do when what you're believing God for doesn't come to pass? Now, this isn't a big thing. Like, it's totally cool. Not like I'm not, oh my God, like that didn't get, 100. Like, it's cool. It's whatever. And so, but there's going to be times when you're believing God for something that is, kind of like a big deal, that is serious. And then what happens when it doesn't come to pass? Then what do you do? And so, like, I'm just thinking this off the top of my head. I don't know. Literally planned for this I have notes, but they were for me actually this stuff coming to pass. Not if it didn't. So yeah, we're just gonna roll with it. But I think one is like acknowledging that it's okay to feel how you feel. Like if you're angry, if you're upset, if if you're upset with God, it's okay to feel that. The Bible says, be angry but don't sin. So it's like the sin part isn't the anger. The sin part is what you do with it. Basically, how do you react? How do you respond when you are angry? That's the portion of it that could possibly be the issue. And so one, just like feel it. But then a close second is don't stay there long. Like, I know sometimes, like, when we get upset about something or we hear something and it's fresh, you have all those raw emotions, and how we can sit, and sometimes, like, we just sit in it, though. And, like, we keep thinking about it. You might lash out. You might post something on social media. You might, vent to a person and end up taking it out. Or even you might vent to somebody about it, like keep going on about it. Or you might even lash out to someone else who really had nothing to do with that situation, because you have all this pent up anger or frustration or whatever. And the thing is yes, that's valid. It is valid. Like this, A didn't happen, so then here comes B. Like, literally, that's the natural reaction of things. But the thing is you can't stay there. If you stay in that place of frustration, in that place of like anger, what starts to happen is that bitterness starts to like build up. And then that like opens a door to so many other things. Like bitterness is one of those roots that like takes sprout in you and then like literally produces so many other things. So it wasn't that now you're not just angry about this one situation. You're angry in general, and that's not something you want. You don't want to be the angry person. You don't want to be this person who is jealous. You don't want. There's so many fruits of like bitterness that we won't really go into because I had to look it up to tell you. But it's just like you don't want to be that. You don't want that to be you. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. And so like it's okay to be upset, but then don't stay there. Like go to God. You can ask for wisdom. Like I was in there, I was like I don't know why, and it's like I don't even know if I will. This is how I see it, and this is sometimes what you have to do. You have to see, well, why wouldn't God allow that to come to pass? And it might be because what I have to say about what do you do if something doesn't come to pass is way more important, way more valuable, and way more needed in this moment than what I do have to. What I would have said if God, let it go, let it happen, let me get those 100 likes or 100 follows or whatever. So like. Maybe it's one of those situations where someone else needs to hear about what they do next in this moment, as opposed to them being like, because let's be honest, it wasn't like a big big faith, making or breaking moment. So for then the next person, it would have been like, oh, that's good for them, but like I need to believe God something for something way bigger than Facebook likes. So then that exchange of faith might not necessarily happen, but and what I'm feeling is that maybe there are people, and maybe this might even be just for things that happened last year, like things didn't come to pass like you thought they would, and now you're sitting here, it's 2019, you had this list of things that you thought you were believing God for, and they didn't happen. So now what? So like basically just the first one is it's okay to be upset about it. But then the second is just not to stay there. The third is just talk to God about it. Like, pour your heart out to God. Like, literally have a conversation with God. Tell him you're frustrated. Because the thing is that, like, you could talk to, your friends, your coworkers, your whatever, whoever, but your family members. But, like, if they have nothing to do with the situation, like, even if they were literally the cause of the situation or whatever may be going on, there's nothing like they can really do. They can only do what they're capable of doing. But God is able to do anything and everything. And he's already done all this, like so much that the point is like he can yesterday I was at a service and they were talking about how powerful God is, that there's nothing that can stop God, that God can splinter the strongest tree. Like cedar is one of the strongest trees, like hard to and it wasn't like, oh, he broke it into two pieces, but God could splinter it, like shatter it. So if God can shatter trees, and the thing was, it was crazy about it was with literally just his voice. It wasn't like with a wind, it wasn't with like thunder or anything or waves or flooding or anything like that. It was literally with his voice. So if God can shatter things with his voice, what do you think he can do when you give him that situation that you're not frustrated in? Do you think he could possibly make sense of it for you? Do you think he could possibly, show you a different viewpoint of it or reasons why it might not need to happen in this moment? And just because it didn't happen when you thought it should have happened by the point you were believing it to happen by, doesn't mean it won't happen later. That God has a timing. And the thing is with us, like sometimes we like to work, we like things to happen when we want them to happen, but you have to trust God's timing. It's more important that his timing comes to pass than whatever we had or whatever we thought we wanted. So just saying that to say that, so going back over it, feel the emotion you feel, but don't stay there. Ask God, seek God because some things are like really big situations. Like you might be sick, you might be dealing with illness, you might be on the verge of having your house foreclosed on or being kicked out or something. And so there are deadlines where you feel that, oh, if this doesn't happen, the absolute worst, like literally I'm gonna be out on the street or something like that. But the thing is though, you never know what's coming up next. We don't know what's happening in the future. We don't know what God has already lined up. And sometimes those things need to happen just so God can put us in a better place. So like, don't like, and listen, like, I just keep thinking like, don't stay there, because look for God in your next. In the moments after that, after the whatever was supposed to happen didn't happen, start searching out God. Where is He? How is God moving? Because that's going to tell you what's happening next, and you'll find comfort in the next, because the next is the provision. The next is the reason why it couldn't happen that way, because God had something way bigger for you. And like, that's low key blowing my mind right now, because like literally I was about to feel some type of way. I was still gonna tell y'all what I had to tell y'all, but I was still gonna feel some type of way. But I just kind of like, I'm good now, because I'm searching for God in my next. So yeah, that's cool. Sort of, actually, it all kind of still flows together, because the thing is, and something I've been studying like the last couple of days is well, to back up, I used to have an issue like rejection, and that basically stemmed on me not understanding my worth. So me having to always be in the position where I had to prove myself. And so it's because I felt like I wasn't, I felt like people didn't see my worth, that, I'm awesome, that? But like, I felt like everybody wasn't recognizing how awesome I am. And so like, I was in this place where I'm always like, almost on the attack to show people, this is how great I am. This is how much I can do. This is how smart I am. And so like, God started having me like break this thing on down, and came back to like, oh, the root of all this is just rejection. And how do you combat rejection? Particularly when it comes from like a lack of self-worth or whatever. You have to understand your identity. And like, God broke it. And at first, like literally, God had my mentor like kind of start working with me on this. And like, she just started bringing up things for me to look up. But literally, one of the things she sent me was like this paper on like rejection and like identity and all that kind of stuff. But then the first thing it said was that God loves you. And like, of course, I know God loves me. Like, I know this, like, I know the song. I've been hearing this all my life. I got it. God loves me. Okay, yeah. But sometimes we take it for granted how much He actually loves me. Did you know that God loves us so much that that's the reason why He created us? Like, God had so much love in Him that He had to create something to love. It wasn't that something could love Him. It's because He wanted something to love. That is how much God loves. That's how much God loves us. That's how much God loves me as an individual. And so the crazy part about that is like you hear, that God is the sculptor, we're the clay, that God molded us, God formed us in our mother's womb. So like, even every detail about us, God specifically took time to make sure this person is going to be just like this. Alani Atkins, He made sure that I was placed in this one particular family, that I would grow up in this one particular area. It's crazy. Let me tell y'all something. Literally, it's been a secret I've held on to just about all my life. Loki stressed me out at one point in time. I say I'm from Atlanta. I'm not from Atlanta. I went to Atlanta public schools. I went to church in Atlanta. I am not from Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta 1 year of my life, and that was it. I'm from Clayton County, which is good, smooth 30 minutes away, right? So all this time, Loki just, not even Loki, literally been lying about my address so I could like reuse my grandma's address. And I'm telling these now because I already got my high school diploma, and I'm sure they can't do nothing to me now at this point because I already got a diploma and 2 degrees. So I'm pretty sure they can't do nothing to me now, so we're good, right? But I reused my grandmother's address. She lives in Southwest Atlanta, Zone 4. Don't go see my grandma though. We used her address so we could go to Atlanta public schools. So just to think, why was that even so necessary? Like, not from my standpoint, so I could go to Atlanta public school or the standpoint from my parents, but why would God literally put me in that situation? Like, literally, God could have had my family living in Atlanta. It wouldn't have been that hard. It really would have been really simple for my parents to find a house in Atlanta, but He didn't. And like, I was literally walking my dog, and I was trying to the thought just popped up in my mind, like, this is how specific God is. The God would specifically have me live in Clayton County, but have me going to school, having my church, all this stuff in Atlanta. I'm like, what is the purpose of that? Like, why would God make that very specific thing? And then it dawned on me, it was because later on, I needed to be used to commuting. It was one point where I was living in Danville, going to church in Greensboro. So that's like an hour commute, right? I literally commuted an hour twice a week for church. And sometimes people say just for church. Like that was like it's just church, but like literally for church, I commuted an hour twice a week. And basically, well, that was only one way. So round trip was 4 hours every week. And so the thing is the reason why, and God revealed this to me, the reason why He had me like in Plain County, but basically living in Atlanta, is because I needed to get used to commuting. I needed commuting to be something that was natural to me, that wasn't an inconvenience. It was something I've been doing my entire life. That's a 30-minute drive. And if it's traffic, it's going to be a lot longer than that. It's a 30-minute drive without traffic on a good day. And that was back in the 90s, early 2000s. At this point, that's a drive if you're stuck in traffic. But God needed me to be so used to it, to commuting, that it was natural. So when it got to the point where the ask was, Alani, I need you to commute from Danville, Virginia to Greensboro, North Carolina to attend this one particular church. All these churches in Danville, all these churches in the middle between Danville and Greensboro, God still had me going to this one church. And so it's because there was something there that I needed. And like God needed me to be so used to commuting that, okay, an hour to commute isn't a big deal. That's how much God loves me, that He literally prepared. And mind you, this was only for a year that I did that commute. God literally prepared me for what, like 18 years? I don't know how long I was in school, from kindergarten to 12th grade, however long that was, literally prepared me for that 1 year. That's how much God loves me. So, and we're saying all this, and I have my notes now because I gotta remember where I was actually going with all that. Right. So, God loves us so much that He puts so much effort into us that even the smallest of details He used, there is no loss in God. This is the crazy thing. And the thing is, when I first heard that verse, I thought that, oh, it just means like, oh, we're victorious, right? And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm victorious. Like, it's like one of the things, if you hear it so much, after a while, it doesn't have that power on you or effect, like, oh, yay. But like, it's just like, okay, that's another thing I've heard. Unless you're actually going through, then sometimes you really might need to hear it. But no, but then God showed me, like, no, there's no loss in God. That means I'm going to use everything about you, God is going to use. So these small details, these things that's like, okay, that wasn't even necessary, doesn't even make a difference, doesn't even shape me any type of way, God can use that as well. And it's so crazy. And so the thing is with all of these things, it's like, if you're in a situation where you believe God for something and didn't come to pass, or you're just trying to figure out, what's happening next with you, what's going on, one, just know that God loves you and that His plans are perfect and His timing is perfect, and that everything that you consider a loss, that what you consider a loss, God is going to use, and He's going to turn it, and it's going to be for your good. So just be encouraged and don't stay in the place of being frustrated, because the thing is, God's going to use everything. Everything He's thrown at you, everything He's given you, He's going to use. And the crazy part about this, that it's not just for you. I was literally talking to somebody about this over the last 2 days, right? You're coming out, your testimony is not even for you. That's the crazy part. Like, yeah, it's cool, like God will build your faith and you're like, oh, your testimony is like awesome, like, but the thing is that there are so many people that you have no idea who are connected to your testimony. And it's like we're talking about this is the one particular one that I'm looking for. Like, I am waiting on that report. I'm waiting for that good report that God just changed the situation, completely turned it around. But it's not even for that one specific person that it's for. It's actually for the people who are connected to it. Because God has shown me, like literally people telling me, oh yeah, this one particular thing, but it still affects the one person that was initially, whose testimony it initially is. There are people that are connected to it. And then God has shown me like other people who are connected to it. Like, so He gave me a piece of like, oh, you need to tell this person this one particular thing. That's all I had to do. So it's not my testimony, because like, yeah, I was obedient. That was my thing. But when that testimony comes to pass, like when we hear it, it's like, man, God used me in that moment. And then God also showed me how He used someone else, even in a bigger place. And it's crazy because I'm honestly believing that once we hear that report of like everything's good, how much that other person's faith is going to increase, how much they're going to believe what God called them to do and what to be. Like how much more, because then they're going to have an actual living testimony right in their face that they can see all the time. And it's a constant reminder of, wow, God used me. Because sometimes, like, well, a lot of times the things sometimes God tells us, like who we are and who he wants us to be and what he wants to do, they're huge. And it's like, man, this is kind of big. This is kind of intimidating. But when you're like obedient to it, and then God, like, it's crazy. Let me tell y'all. Okay. So I literally, I was like hanging out with somebody, and like, we were praying about a certain thing, and like we were asking God for just deliverance. They were struggling with something. We asked God for deliverance. You know, we prayed for deliverance, and literally that person in that moment got delivered. They were no longer affected by what they were, like what the situation was. So they was like dealing with anxiety. So I mentioned that I had really bad anxiety, and God delivered me in my kitchen 2 years ago from anxiety, just from me basically asking God for deliverance. I was at the point where I was so fed up with anxiety that I was like, I don't care what I have to do, what has to happen, but I need this going. And then later, about a year or so later, God had me pray for somebody else to be delivered from anxiety. But the crazy part was, and at first I didn't understand why they kept doing it. They kept texting me, hey, I would have had anxiety in this moment, but guess what? I was fine. This used to give me anxiety. It doesn't. I'm not afraid. I used to be afraid of this. Guess what? It's not happening. It kept happening. And it kept happening. And it was a constant reminder. Like they're just sharing because they're happy because they don't have anxiety anymore. But not realizing they're increasing my faith every single text message, increasing my faith a little bit more, increasing my faith. Because it could have been a situation where I was like, you know what? Well, maybe they did. Maybe they didn't get, free from it or whatever. Like sometimes God has asked me to pray for people. And like it's a lot of times it's been strangers. And like at first I thought I would be more comfortable with that because of the fact that if it didn't happen, I would never know. Like I would be really uncomfortable praying for somebody I knew, because if it didn't come to pass, I literally had to face them, and then what, because that's where my faith was. I didn't have faith to believe that God could actually use me to help someone else. But God showed me, by using someone I knew, someone I see on a regular basis, that when I pray for them, guess what? They're still delivered. Guess what? Just in case you thought they were no longer, they're still delivered. 2 days later, still delivered. A month later, still delivered. And it was a constant reminder, like, one, God's going to use you. And when he tells you to do something, he's not going to leave you out there hanging. It's going to happen. When he has you to pray for somebody, you're going to get that result. And so, I don't know, said all to say, I don't even remember where exactly I was going with that one. But said all to say, like, actually, I don't know where I was going with that. But I feel like I just had to tell y'all that. But I really, oh yeah, the testimony. Okay. So yeah, so all that is connected to your testimony or to that person's testimony. But their testimony is that they've been delivered, that they're no longer suffering from anxiety. But my part in that is that, wow, I see it. I was a part of it. And so like how much more faith do I have now that when God asked me to pray for somebody else for something similar, I can do it, because not only did I do it for myself, I did it for this other person. Because it could have been a situation where, yeah, it worked for me, but I don't know about anybody else. But in this particular situation, God showed me, yep, it worked for you, and it will work for somebody else. So now I can walk boldly into that. That's, how powerful it is to have somebody, to help someone be bold in their calling just by your testimony. So if you have a testimony, if someone helped you with anything, they prayed for you, they said one thing to you, if they were obedient in one moment and you know that like God sent them to do that, tell them, because you have no idea how much that's going to affect them, their walk, and who they believe God has called them to be. So yeah, that was a lot. This was a lot, but I really felt it was necessary in this moment to like really go through all that. So yeah, that's all I got. So bye, I guess.